We've all seen this beautiful city. Some of us have taken the time to walk through its trails, and others just like to enjoy the view. But do we ever stop and think, who creates these trails? Who keeps them clean and full of life? The Greenbelt Alliance is a non-profit organization whose sole purpose is to preserve these natural areas. Volunteers spend numerous hours building benches, preserving natural plants, putting up name posts, and even removing invasive species. Greenbelt Alliance is a volunteer-based organization and are always welcoming new members. So if you enjoy these trails, why not help preserve them? For more information, please visit www.smgreenbelt.org.
You get it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
The one, the wheel.
Okay.
Dad, like, the wheel.
You did great.
I'm thinking I might do the burn.
Okay, let's do that.
I hate this already. Oh gosh, no.
Just take your time. You're doing great.
Dad, right behind you though.
Yeah, tell me if you want me to speed up.
Speed up a little bit.
Yeah. How about
Speed up.
this? Is that better?
Yeah.
If you aren't already a member of the San Marcos Greenbelt Alliance, here's your chance to join. Just grab your phone, read the QR code on the screen, and when you're taken to our website, type in your information. It's as easy as that. For many people, getting out on the trails is an opportunity to relax or take a walk with their kids or their dogs. But it's important to remember that while using the trails enhances our physical and mental well-being, the Greenbelt serves an equally important function. The natural areas help with flood control, protect the aquifer and river, and preserve habitat necessary for wildlife to thrive. Indeed, in every season there's something to see on the trail. Birds and other creatures, trees and grasses, wildflowers, karst features, aquatic life. Let's take a look at just a few of these things. This is the point in the meeting when we normally invite you to get some yummy snacks provided by the members of the Bluebonnet Lions Club, visit with your friends, and enjoy some great music. But alas, we can't do any of that this year. No, this year you'll just have to hunt for that last granola bar in the back of the kitchen cabinet, pull out that one beer you've been saving for special, and kick back on the couch while we do our best to inform and maybe even entertain you. So here we go.
Hi, I'm Diane Phelan, Vice President of the Greenbelt Alliance, and I'm here to talk to you about some really exciting stuff. Ooh, I'm glad you didn't get that. 2020 was an exceptional year for SMGA because of the Cox Conserves Award. Excluding that, SMGA had a year that was in line with previous years. Membership and donations were $14,000 and expenses were approximately $20,000. Overall, SMGA is in a strong financial position. Our membership is the heart of our organization. We currently have 166 members. Like any volunteer organization, we could always use more. So if you have friends that enjoy the trails or appreciate our mission, please encourage them to become a member. In 2020, even with limitations of working during a pandemic, our volunteers submitted close to 4,000 hours, 300 more hours than 2019. This is a service value of almost $100,000. The city and SMGA can use this information for grants and other funding purposes. If membership is the heart of SMGA, our volunteers are the soul. The majority of our work is done building and maintaining trails. Ironically, the pandemic seemed to encourage younger volunteers to join us on the trail, and they have been a huge help. After all, a lot of us ain't no spring chicken. But we also have a lot of volunteer opportunities in outreach, fundraising, and working with other stakeholders to conserve more land. So please consider volunteering with SMGA and encourage others too. We brought home the hardware in 2020 with an award from the Texas Recreation and Park Society for Organization Voluntary Service. And of course, we can't forget the Cox Conserves Award, which increased our coffers by $60,000.
I'm Sherwood Bishop, and I love the San Marcos Greenbelt Alliance. SMGA's mission is to create and conserve an interconnected system of parks and natural areas. When we founded SMGA in 1998, this county had only a few acres of parks and no nature preserves. There are now about 3,500 acres. We've almost completed a green belt around our city. Our volunteer crews build and maintain many miles of trails, and we're partnering with others to build trails to connect to Austin and San Antonio. Our volunteers remove invasive plants and plant native ones, produce our newsletter, and speak to community groups, classes, and new alliances in other cities. People have been very generous with their time and cash donations. They love the natural areas, trails, and wildlife. But we expect to add over 2,000 more acres within the next year. The new trail circling our city will be about 20 miles long itself. We desperately need resources to train and equip more volunteer teams to get them their tools and supplies to sites that are miles from roads. We need materials for projects like bird blinds, trail bridges, and outdoor meeting spaces. The Cox Conserves Prize would be a godsend.
For SMGA, conservation involves more than working on the trails every week. It's also about collaborating with other groups in the community to foster a culture of stewardship and make San Marcos a safer, healthier, and happier place to live. Here's a little bit of what we did this past year.
The Edwards Aquifer Habitat Conservation Plan has many projects in and along the San Marcos River, as well as its contributing tributaries. As part of this program, the SMGA Trail Crew participates in the removal of invasive plant species along Shuley Canyon and Sesame Creek, with a goal to protect and enhance the river's water quality and habitat. The San Marcos Greenbelt Alliance is a strong supporter of the Emerald Crown Trail project. The Emerald Crown Trail is an integral part of a larger regional trail system envisioned to one day connect Austin to San Antonio. The current conceptual plan for the ECT calls for over 70 miles of loops and interconnected trails in Hays County. The plan connects Austin's Violet Crown Trail system to Buda, through Kyle, and continues to the Purgatory Green Space here in San Marcos. The Regional Trail Work Group, founded in 2017, is the driving force behind the Emerald Crown Trail and was co-founded by Mark Taylor, who has a long-standing history with SMGA as a past board member and president of SMGA. The San Marcos Greenbelt Alliance would like to thank the many regional and local participants of Emerald Crown Trail effort, but especially would like to thank Mark for his tireless dedication and vision for this interconnected series of trails. San Marcos Greenbelt Alliance would like to congratulate the San Marcos River Foundation for receiving a $200,000 grant from Texas Parks and Wildlife. The grant covers a new urban trail along Purgatory Creek, extending from Dunbar Park to the intersection of Wonderworld Drive and Hunter Road. For the grant, the San Marcos River Foundation partnered with the City of San Marcos and San Marcos Greenbelt Alliance. The city will be providing land and securing the trail easements, while SMGA will be coordinating the trail building efforts. This grant is an important first step in realizing a trail that would eventually connect our Purgatory Green Space to the San Marcos River. Monthly bird walks, led by Stephen Ramirez and Colton Roberts, explore our many natural areas on the lookout for our feathery friends. These knowledgeable and insightful individuals graciously accepted the unique challenges of the past year by hosting their first ever live-streamed and socially distanced bird walks and birding sit-ins. This past year, they observed 41 different species of birds at Spring Lake Preserve in one outing.
Over the years, SMGA has been invited to collaborate with students at Texas State University. We've been asked by faculty to suggest projects students might undertake on our behalf. Projects that would benefit not just SMGA, but also the natural area it aims to protect. In 2020, we not only had a student intern working with us on the trails, but we also teamed up with students in marketing and geography to create products we can use for some time to come. Students in Dr. Karen Smith's Marketing for Social Change class developed a media campaign using Facebook and Instagram to encourage trail users to pick up after their pets. Students in Dr. Colleen Miles' Environmental Interpretation class produced a collection of short videos profiling invasive plants in the natural areas and suggesting native alternatives. All of these videos can be found on SMGA's YouTube site. Here's one of them now.
The Chinese tallow tree was brought from Eastern Asia to the U.S. in the 1700s by none other than Benjamin Franklin, who was interested in production of tallow, or fat for oils and candles. The tallows that Franklin brought didn't become a problem. However, in the early 1900s, the U.S. Department of Agriculture had a similar idea to Franklin and planted a different strain of tallow trees in Texas to study commercial uses. These trees are what created the big problem. Even though they weren't brought here to do harm, Chinese tallows threaten native Texas landscapes. While beautiful, the Chinese tallow is the single greatest threat to the existence of the coastal prairie in Texas. It spreads rapidly due to its abundance of seed production. A single tree can produce up to 500,000 seeds each year. These seeds can be spread by birds and even lay dormant in the soil for up to 5 years before germinating. So what's an alternative to Chinese tallow? If you have Chinese tallow in your yard and you would like to replace it, consider flame-leaf sumac. Not only is flame-leaf sumac a native plant that won't cause harm, these small trees offer color and help wildlife all year long. In the summer, flame-leaf sumac attracts bees with big yellow flowers. During autumn, the dark green leaves turn into a beautiful, deep red color, and the tree fruits produce food for birds and wildlife. Sumac berries are edible for humans too, and can be made into spices and teas. The berries can even be used to dye wool. Flameleaf sumac are small trees that can grow up to 20 feet tall. They can even be used for erosion control on inclined slopes.
Still haven't joined? What are you waiting for? Now it's time to go out on the trail with Todd.
Hi everybody, my name's Todd Durkis. I'm with the San Marcos Greenbelt Alliance Trail Crew, and welcome to Spring Lake Natural Area. And if you're a member of the San Marcos Greenbelt Alliance, thank you. We've been doing some work here at Spring Lake lately just because we want to make sure our trails are the best they can be. So we've been working on blind salamander. Let's take a look. There's a lot of reasons we'll do a trail one way or another. And good trails don't just happen, you have to make them happen. Although when they're done, it sort of looks like they just happened without anybody doing anything. That's the way we like it. This is blind salamander near the kiosk, near the trailhead. And you can see that we've hardened it using pavers that were donated. And we did so because that trail comes straight down the hill. And it comes down the hill after another portion that captures a lot of water, and we didn't want it to erode away. Spring Lake itself isn't far away, and if all those solids that come off of that trail go down into Spring Lake, that's bad. So we hardened it. In addition, it's important that trails that are near the entrance are easy to travel, and if you can possibly make it happen, you want those trails to be in a loop so that more people can take a short hike with dog and family, and people who have a harder time hiking the harder trails, they can get in and out easily on a trail that's comfortable and interesting. We make it a loop so that you don't have to go out and back and see the same thing twice. Blind salamander and tonkawa do just that. So here's the trail we're going to replace that was in existence, which is really a Renegade's trail from a long time ago, and probably had something to do with a jeep track that was for deer hunting or finding the cattle. But you can see what's going on right here. This has been here a while, and now it's cupped out, hollowed out, and displaced. It's a gutter, basically. And all the material that was here is now gone downstream to the lake. So our job is to make sure that doesn't happen, and that the trail, when it's in place, is as fun for every turn and twist as it would be at the end. So there's a lot that goes into designing a trail. We have to consider the property lines, and of course the terrain is a big issue. Here we were narrowed down by the property lines and the terrain, and to the side of a hill that was very steep and had a lot of rock. Now, if you're one of those mountain bikers who likes a good challenge, you think this is fabulous stuff and a great ride down. But for a lot of people, just climbing this rock is all they can do, and some can't. So we wanted to create another way around this little rock drop. But we heard from our mountain bikers, they said they wanted to keep it, so we did. Now we have 2 ways up and 2 ways down. That'll lessen the conflict between the 2 groups. Everybody can have a little bit of their fun, and we still achieve the overall goal of making a better way in and out at Spring Lake. So now I'm above that area where I was showing you the rock drop. That's right down there, not far from where I am now, which is another one of those hardened trail segments. This is really steep. It's got rock faces that we had to deal with. In addition, it was such a slope that we had to figure out how to elevate the trail and give it the right angle so it was easier to climb, whether you're on foot or pedal, however it is you're going to come up this hill or down the hill. We wanted to make it safe but interesting, so we tried to combine all those features together. We're glad we had this hardening material because it would have been really tough to do all this just finding the loose rock. But we took advantage of the materials we had on site. So we've got check dams to help stop erosion. We've got rocks to help crib the wall that holds up the trail itself. We've taken advantage of the tree configuration here to do a nice gentle curve all the way around, great climbing turn, and reconnecting with the old blind salamander. After this portion, the hike is relatively easy and still very interesting, with a great hillside going down to your left, all the way up to the top where you meet Tonkawa and Wiki-Ups and the great spot at the top of Spring Lake. Now we're in Upper Purgatory Creek Natural Area, and we're at a location where we created a trail, finished it up pretty much early of 2020. And again, we decided that it was time to create a loop at the entrance with a nice, easy, natural surface single track trail to parallel the all new sticks that was created to provide a wide, accessible trail that was good for strollers and 2-year-olds and anybody who wanted to use a nice, wide, easy, first go kind of trail. So, thanks everybody for being a member of Greenbelt Alliance. Thank you for helping us make this happen. I hope to see you on trail.
The SMGA Fellowship Program was established in 2019 to fund university research in the Greenbelt. Each fall, graduate and undergraduate students from across the disciplines at Texas State are invited to submit proposals for projects that would support the mission and vision of SMGA. The 2 winners receive $2,000 each to purchase supplies and equipment, pay field assistance, and help cover other costs of their research. Ideally, fellowship recipients would be making a presentation on their work at the annual SMGA meeting in February, but this year you'll be hearing from them virtually. Our first presenter is Raihan Jamil, a doctoral student in the Department of Geography, followed by Haley Tacker, an undergraduate geography major with an emphasis on resource and environmental studies. Although we would normally announce SMGA's newest fellowship recipients at our annual meeting, we have postponed that selection due to the pandemic. I now present Raihan and Haley.
Hello everybody, my name is Raihan Jamil and I'm going to present a research progress report on urban green space connectivity, the role of semi-natural area. So the project is supported by SMGA for Texas State University and supervised by Dr. Jason Julian. So urban green space network is an effective approach to improve ecological value. And most of the research focused on connectivity of parks and productive place on large natural area, but often neglected the semi-natural area that mostly on within the neighborhood area. So my research is looking for the role of the semi-natural area to improve the connectivity. So I'm working on 3 main goals in my research. The first one is showing the distribution of green space in natural and semi-natural area within the city limit, and also use urban landscape ecological principle to model green space network and potential habitat corridors. And also in the final stage is to identify the highly ranked or area and suggest for the conservation and for ecosystem service and urban sustainability. So I have used San Marcos ADZ for my study area and see the connectivity within this selected boundary. So to achieve the goal, I have divided my research method in 3 parts. The first one is to generate or get the land use map. So for the land use map, I used 2018 NEIP imagery, that is 60 centimeter, and used machine learning approach to classify the image, and finally got the land use map. In the second step, I have set up resistance value for the potential network and generated the network. So the resistance values are selected on the basis of land use type and also the size of urban green space within the path and also the road network within the path. So these are the main three categories that is creating resistance, and it sums up to the 100%. So each of those resistance values are ranked from 1 to 10. 1 means there is no resistance, the green space network can go through that, and the 10 means the green space network should avoid that part. For example, here in the first one, build up area, that each selected as 10, value of 10, that means the network will avoid build up area and also mostly go through the trees as it is like the value that is the lowest possible value. And also for road network, the high speed limit, more lanes, more resistance, low speed limit, low minimum number of lanes, kind of creating less resistance. Overall, road is kind of creating resistance for most of the power network. So here's the final map showing all the networks, and I see 15 or 16 networks within the San Marcos EDJ, and the source is kind of existing parks and protected place. So the network all are formed from the source that is on the existing parks and recreational area. And here trees, that is the urban green space, almost accounts for 40%, and 9% of green space are within semi-natural area. So we see a lot of networks in a network, potential networks and corridors in San Marcos ETZ. And here, if we see here in the map, we see networks connecting the main part within the existing urban green space. And also there is a network, several networks that goes through the urban area, goes through the neighborhood area. So we can see here the network that is contributing to within the neighborhood. So it's kind of formed on semi-natural area. So we can say like the neighborhood green space also take part to improve connectivity. So in the next step, I have ranked all the networks, and most of the networks are on the west part of the area, and so those networks are formed on the basis of like the ranks is formed on the basis of the quality habitat or of golden chiefed warbler. So in final stage, so I have to work more on the habitat preference for wild turkey, and in the final step, like suggest land conservation based on the networks. Thank you so much for joining the presentation with me. Bye.
Hi, my name is Haley Tacker. This past year, I was very lucky to have been awarded one of the 2 SMGA Student Research Fellowship Awards. So thank you so much to SMGA for making this opportunity happen. Thank you so much for everyone who contributed to this. This opportunity has been amazing. I've been able to form a lot of really awesome institutional relationships and learn a lot of very foundational, independent, student research skills, and just really hone myself as a student researcher. And that's really a rare opportunity as an undergraduate. So again, thank you so much for this opportunity. Anyways, I'm an undergraduate senior here at Texas State University, majoring in geography. I have minors in horticulture and honors studies. So I've been able to use this project actually as my undergraduate honors thesis, which is really an amazing opportunity to have a funded undergrad thesis, even one that's able to be published eventually. I believe I will be finished with the project by May or late April, early May. I'm set to graduate May 13th. Anyways, so my project has been mapping trailside inventories of invasive Ligustrum lucidum and Nandina domestica here at Prospect Park. So what that has looked like is that me and a field assistant I've been very lucky to have come out to Prospect Park, and we walk the trails, and every time we see either Ligustrum lucidum or Nandina domestica plant within like eye shot, we go up to it and we create a plot that has a 3-meter diameter, and we mark the center of the plot with red biodegradable tape, which helps us visualize. And then we conduct a species composition survey within the plot, such that we are writing down the name of every woody species within the plot. I'm writing down the number of ground cover species and vines and like field conditions, even if it looks like it's been burned or been very disturbed or had any type of, again, just disturbance happen that we can pick up on. Anyways, we've been collecting the GPS locational data for each of these plots. So we've now completed Prospect Park and collecting over 140 different plots worth of data. So within these plots, we have, again, all of the GPS coordinates of where they are, and then also all of the species within the plot that are woody, and then how large they are. So we're finding the DBH, which is diameter at breast height. So that's, again, the diameter of the specimen at about 4.5 feet. Then that number helps us calculate the basal area, which is essentially the volume of invasive specimen. And so eventually, when I visualize this in a GIS product, one would be able to compare the invasive density of various points of the park by just looking at the map. Anyways, yeah, over 140 plots we've gathered. It's all been entered into an Excel data sheet. So I have, again, longitude and the latitude, and then the species, and then how big they are, and then a bunch of other calculations on like importance factor, and then the diversity factor and things like that. So I've been able to make a lot of, again, really cool institutional relationships, even by reaching out to the GIS library specialist, Nathan. He's been helping me create the GIS product that will be completed by April. And then also Kimberly Meisen is my amazing advisor. So thank you so much to her for really leading me throughout the prospect of this project. Again, I've just been able to practice so many independent research skills just coming out here and scheduling this into my time, and being able to, even without the field assistant, create these plots and measure everything and write it down and go home and work the GPS and put it all into the computer and run analysis and then create a map and then write down everything that we have done in a report. It's just been a really eye-opening experience. I very luckily have been able to harness the things I've learned in this process in my grad school application process and in my grad school application materials as well. I've luckily been accepted to the Sustainability Studies program at Texas State to start in fall of 2021. And I definitely believe that this opportunity definitely helps me into the program and has helped me in competition for scholarships and awards and whatnot. But this has just been a really amazing opportunity to, again, just connect with the local San Marcos community and to learn about the biogeography of the region, which is something I've been interested in really since being able to take upper division courses here at Texas State. So yeah, we just found a lot of really interesting invasive monocultures of Ligustrum, specifically within Prospect Park, and it's been just a really cool experience, just to really visually study the relationship, the spatial relations of the forest to these residential areas, and kind of make inferences on how ornamental horticulture and, residential development may impact native biodiversity.